10 minutes.
That's a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, the only constant in life is change. I'm sure you've heard that before. And to me, even though I think of myself as somewhat of a constant, I don't really change much in life. But I've also come to accept this fact. So I'm going to run through 3 different stages of my life. And I'm going to ask you later on to see if you can cite what the difference is. The first scene starts when I was about 8 years old. I was living in Canada with my younger brother and my mom and dad. Every day I would, well not every day, but most of the time I would wake up, eat, go to school, watch TV, play with toys, and sleep. That's pretty much what I did almost every day. For young children at that age, most of them, if you ask them, what would you want to become in the future? They would have an answer for you. Some would say, I want to become a policeman. Others would say, fireman. Those who have more of a fortunate background would be trained to say lawyer or doctor. But for me, I wasn't quite as imaginative. And all I knew was eat, sleep, play. Well, work, I mean, school wasn't that fun, so I didn't include that. So, and then there's another thing. You know, a lot of kids, they would look up to their fathers. If they were a doctor, they would want to be a doctor. Maybe they were a policeman, they would want to be a policeman. But my dad was a businessman. I didn't know what that was, but it wasn't work, and it wasn't eat, play, or sleep. So if you had asked me when I was 8 years old, Jeffrey, what would you want to become in the future? I would have said, yeah, I don't know. Let's hit the fast forward button and go to when I was about 16. So now it's time to apply for university. My dad goes, well, I'm going to pay for your tuition, so you better think about what program you're going to get into. So off I go, thinking in my little brain, go with an answer. I go back to Dad. I said, Dad, I'm going to be a journalist. I want to be a journalist. I'm thinking because I love writing and I think I'm good at it, so I can do that for life. And he says, son, journalism doesn't make you money. So I go, oh. So I'm going to think of something else, right? So thinking, several weeks later I come back to my dad. I said, Dad, I want to study hotel management. I really liked hotels. They're really posh, grand places, and a lot of important people seem to be there. So I wanted to work there and be a part of it. And then my dad tells me, son, work hours at hotels are horrible. You don't want to work there. And it doesn't make you money. So I'm like, oh, here we go again. So I'm thinking again, coming up with some ideas, and I said, okay, Dad, I want to study computer science. At this time, my dad had a client whose daughter had just finished college and went off and got hired by Yahoo for about $100,000 US salary, annual salary. And well, I didn't really know that at the time, but for me it was, well, I really like video games, and I think it would be fun to make video games. So my dad answered, okay. And there you go. I was going to become a computer scientist. So it's something that I want to do. Now, fast forward another 8 years, now we get to when I'm 24. I'm working at a software engineering firm, as a software engineer in New York. And my dad, I know that he was going to Toronto to visit my brother. So I said, well, why don't I take a day off on Friday and have a long weekend, go spend a long weekend with my dad. So we sit down after dinner over coffee, and he starts telling me about things that are happening. There's him, he got pneumonia and was hospitalized for a week. This was after 30 years of never visiting a hospital. And then there was my aunt, because we have a family business. My aunt is also in the family business. And she says, well, we really need some sort of succession plan. You know, we're all getting old, and there's no one going to pick up the pieces afterwards. Oh, and there's also one little minor thing. My grandmother She used to have breast cancer, and it's now come back, and it seems like it's not going to be curable this time. So I'm thinking, and after about 5 minutes, I tell my dad, I'm going to come back and help out with the family business. So there are 3 stages in my life. Has anyone cited some sort of difference between those 3 stages in me? Does anyone care to give it a shot? Does anyone think there was any change within me?
As a toddler, you started out and you didn't have to know your name, which is normal. And as you matured and went to university and work, you started having an idea of what you were going to do, and you initiate each action, as in leaving New York, going back to your family business, and not listening to your dad like before, telling you what you should and should not study. So you took things in your own hands. And that's why you're a Toastmaster as well.
That's very true. So it is very true. Cindy talked about a sense of maturity, and there's also a sense of growing responsibility. And those are the things that make you start to think about what is it that, well, sometimes in the beginning you think about what is it that I want to do. You're always thinking about me. And then later on you start to realize the world is a little bit bigger than just me. For us, a lot of us here, we're very fortunate that we have a job that pays us, gives us food, shelter, and we have friends and family to satisfy our social needs. So we have some time to think about this higher question that we've got. What do we do with our lives? What is the purpose in life? So along that journey, at first I wasn't thinking about it. And then my dad asked me to think about it. And then later on, I really made my own decision without anyone telling me. So throughout that process, you start to realize, I think there's more to this world than just me. And although myself, I struggle quite a bit to answer the question, what am I doing? What is my purpose in life? But how many of you have a good answer for that? Okay, so it's not just me. So I've struggled with this for a very long time. But I think what I've come to realize is that you don't have to answer it with one grand sentence. It could be a number of different things. And I started off with thinking about, well, what about me making a difference in other people's lives? Maybe I can do something for other people. So I ventured along that line. I think over the years, as I was growing up, I've done some of that. And it actually feels really good to help people. I remember when I was in high school, I was going to school, and I saw this little kid carrying his backpack. He had those backpacks with wheels and a handle on it, and he was like trying to get it up the stairs at MTRX. So I saw him struggling, and I didn't say a word. I just picked it up for him, took it up to the top of the MTR exit, and then I dropped it down for him. So he looked at me, and he smiles, and he goes, "Thank you." Now it's a very small gesture, but when you see someone like that, when you see that type of resolve, there's something funny. There's a little warm, fuzzy feeling in your stomach, and you feel like you're quite happy, and you smile, and you want to do it more. It's kind of like a contagious feeling. And throughout the years, there's other ways you can do this. You can help your friends, your relatives, in a very small, minor way. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to donate $1 million for them to go to college or something like that. It could be a very small gesture. And you'll eventually realize that, I might not have all the answers as to why I'm here, but perhaps making a difference in other people's lives is something that I can do. I'm good at certain things, or I can observe places where I can help other people. And it becomes something, when you start to enter that mode and want to help people, you'll start looking out for little ways in which you can help. And whenever you can execute on that, and you can help someone, it makes you feel really good. And it's like a perpetual cycle. You just want to keep going and doing it over and over again. And I know there's a lot of things that we have to do in life. We don't have that much time to take up a full day and go visit some elders and take them out or whatever. But it doesn't have to be that. You can start off with small steps, like my example. And I really want to ask each one of you to try it. Just do it once. Just observe in your daily life what opportunities there are. And when you eventually have that one moment where you can help someone, I think you'll begin to understand what it's like. And you'll begin to become addicted to it. So even though I don't have the question, or I don't have the answer to the question, what is the purpose of my life, I think it could be a lot of things. It could be a series of small things. And one of them is, what is the difference that you can make in other people's lives? HKUST.
Okay, Jeffrey.